All right, thanks, guys. We are currently 21-5-1 in our last 27 daily double picks on patreon.com/BrockPage. We're also 15-4-2 on the college football season, good for nearly 80%. You can find that information on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, we got ourselves an excellent, nice, juicy, bulbous slate of NHL action tonight. So let's go ahead and get into it, beginning with Anaheim taking on the Penguins, and that's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop in the Steel City. Pittsburgh's minus 140, total at 6. No movement on the total. We saw a 15-cent fade of Pittsburgh. They opened $1.55 down to 140, totals at 6. 51% are leaning Penguins, 67% leaning toward the under. Right now, Anaheim's plus 120 on the money line. Pittsburgh plus $1.85, laying the goal and a half. Now, the Penguins are just 1-2 straight up on the year. They scored just 1 goal in 2 out of those 3 games this year. And the Ducks, on the other side, they're giving up just 1 goal per game on average, and they gave up 3 goals total for the season. Now, total-wise, Anaheim 3-0 to the under thus far in the year. Pittsburgh 2-1 to the under at home. I'm going to lean Anaheim plus $1.20, and the under 6 goals in that game. Next matchup, kind of a clash of the Titans here. Great early season matchup. We have the Lightning taking on Toronto, 7 o'clock Eastern. Puck drop at the Maple Leafs. Toronto's minus $1.15, total 6.5. We saw movement on both the side and the total in this one. We saw a nickel fade of Toronto and movement downward on the total. Toronto opened $1.20 down to 115. Total opened 7 down to 6.5. 58% are leaning Toronto, 66% leaning toward the over. Right now, the Lightning catching even money for an outright win. Now, Toronto's 3-6-1 in their last 10 head-to-head matchups with Tampa Bay. Meanwhile, the Lightning 5-1 in their last 6 in Toronto. Total-wise, Tampa Bay 3-0 to the over. Toronto 2-1 to the over at home. Give me the Lightning minus 105 and the over 6.5 in that game. Next matchup, Red Wings, Canadiens, 7 o'clock Montreal. The Canadiens are the heavy $1.70 favorite, total at 6. Now, you guys know we've been tailing Detroit thus far in the early going in this season. But once again, Montreal opened $1.85 down to 170, totals at 6. 58% leaning toward Montreal, 66% leaning toward the under. Right now, the Red Wings are plus 155 on the money line. Montreal plus $1.55, laying the goal and a half. Now, Montreal, winners in just 1 out of 3 games this year. Their defense is allowing 5 goals per game on average. Meanwhile, the Red Wings on the other side, winners in 2 out of their last 3 games. They beat Dallas and Nashville. Quality wins there. Now, total-wise, Detroit 2-1 to the over on the year. Montreal 3-0 to the over themselves. I'm going to lean Red Wings plus 1.5. And the over 6 goals in that game. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Thursday's NHL action. But before we go ahead and proceed to give you what you need. That was really corny. Anyway, got to remind you to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are 21-5-1 in our last 27 daily double picks on that site. We're also hitting nearly 80% in our college football package. 15-4-2 in our last 21 college football plays. You can find all that information on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. The best part is there's free content there as well, including my current record. So you can see how I'm doing in all my different tiers, memberships, packages, and overall on the site. Link for that site is in the description section below. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, let's go ahead and dive back into some more lines of personal leans right here on YouTube. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got the Ducks and the Penguins. Yeah, I already capped that. I capped it to the wrong graphic. So let's go back up to the top. We have the Oilers taking on the Devils. 7 o'clock, Newark, New Jersey. The Devils are minus 125, total 6.5. Saw a nickel fade of New Jersey in the early wagering. The Devils open a $1.30 down to 125, total 6.5. 75% are leaning toward Edmonton, 76% leaning toward the over. Right now, the Oilers are plus $1.10 on the money line. Jersey plus 215, laying the goal and a half. Edmonton 3-0 straight up on the year. They're also 5-1 straight up in their last 6, taking on the Metropolitan Division. Edmonton's averaging nearly 5 goals per game on average. New Jersey, on the other side, they're giving up well over 5 goals per game. They're 0-2-1 on the year, winless in 3 games on the season. Now, both teams are 2-1 at the over. I'm going to lean Edmonton plus $1.10. And the over 6.5 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and get back on track. And our next game is going to be the Blues taking on the Senators, 7:30 Ottawa. The Blues are 210, total at 6. Nickel move towards St. Louis in the early wagering. The Blues open 205 up to 210, totals at 6. 78% are leaning St. Louis, 65% toward the over. Ottawa's plus $1.80 on the money line. St. Louis plus $1.30, laying the goal and a half. Ottawa's 0-2 on the year. They're averaging just 2 goals per game. St. Louis on the other side, 2-0-1, scoring points in each and every one of their 3 games. And they're allowing just 2 goals per contest in those 3. Now, total-wise, the Blues 3-0 to the under thus far in the year. Give me St. Louis minus 1.5, hoping for an empty netter. And the under 6 goals in that game. Next matchup, Wild Jets, 8 o'clock Winnipeg. The Jets are minus $1.25, total at 6. We did see a 15-cent fade of Winnipeg in the early wagering. The Jets open $1.40 down to 125, totals at 6. 69% are leaning Winnipeg, 80% leaning toward the over. Right now, Minnesota's plus 105 on the money line. Winnipeg plus 195 on the puck line. Minnesota's 0-2 on the year. They're averaging just 2 goals per game. Meanwhile, Winnipeg on the other side, winners in 2 out of their last 3. They're averaging 4.5 goals per game in those wins, in those victories. Now, total-wise, Winnipeg 7-2 to the under in their last 9 head-to-head matchups with Minnesota. I'm going to fade the Wild and take Winnipeg minus 125 and the under 6 goals in that game. Next matchup. This is a heavy hitter. Washington, Nashville. 8 o'clock Music City. Nashville's minus 135, total 5.5. 10-cent fade of Nashville in the early wagering. The Preds open $1.45 down to 135, total 5.5. 51% leaning toward Washington, 82% shaded toward the over. Right now the Caps are plus 120 on the money line. Nashville plus 215, laying the goal and a half. Now the Predators are 8-2 in their last 10, taking on Washington. Their offense is averaging nearly 5 goals per game thus far in the year. And here's an interesting stat for you. Nashville is 9-3 straight up in their last dozen games played in October. Now, Washington on the other side, they're 0-2 in their last couple of games. Their offense scored just 2.5 goals per game on average in those losses. When it comes to the total, Washington 8-1 to the over in their last 9, taking on Nashville. I'm going to lean toward the Nashville Hot Chicken. The Predators minus 135 and the over 5.5 goals in that game. Next matchup, Calgary taking on Dallas, 8:30 Dallas. The Stars are minus 115, total 5.5. Pretty good two-way action on the sides. Not a whole lot of movement there. We did see movement downward on the total, however. Dallas once again open and remains minus 115. Total open 6, down to 5.5. 52% are leaning Dallas. 84% shaded toward the over. Calgary's minus 105 for an outright win. Dallas plus 235, laying the goal and a half. Now the Stars are just 1-3 straight up on the year. They've also dropped 4 out of their last 6, taking on a member of the Western Conference. Now total-wise, Calgary on the other side, 7-3 to the under in their last 10 head-to-head meetings with the Stars. I'm going to lean Calgary minus 105 and the under 5.5 in that game. Next matchup, Sharks, Blackhawks, 8:30 Chicago. The Blackhawks are minus 110, total 6.5. No movement on the total in this one. We did see a 15-cent fade of Chicago. San Jose taking a little money in the early wagering, despite being 0-4. Chicago opened $1.25 down to 110. Total is 6.5. 63% of the consensus are leaning toward Chicago. 71% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Sharks are minus 103 on the money line. Chicago plus 220, laying the goal and a half. Like I just said, San Jose's 0-4 straight up on the year. Their offense is averaging just 1 goal per game. They scored just 5 goals in 4 games this year. Total-wise, San Jose 4-0 to the under, obviously. And Chicago on the other side, 4 out of their last 8 head-to-head matchups with San Jose stayed under the total. So this seems like a pretty high number to me. I'm going to lean Chicago minus $1.10 and the under 6.5 in that game. Next matchup, Bruins, Avalanche, 9 o'clock, Colorado. Pretty interesting matchup here. Colorado's minus $1.10, total 5.5. Saw a 10-cent fade of Colorado, a movement downward on the total. The Avalanche open $1.20, down to 110. Total open 6, down to 5.5. 55% of the consensus is leaning toward Colorado. 88% shaded toward the over. Right now, Boston is catching even money for an outright win. The Avalanche plus 245 on the puck line. Now, Boston is 3-0 straight up on the year. They're giving up less than 2 goals per game on average. And when it comes to the total, Boston 2-1 to the under away from home. Colorado 6-40 to the under in their last 10 head-to-head matchups with the Bruins. I'm going to lean toward the road team in this one. Give me Boston catching even money for some money line cash and the under 5.5 in that game. All right, next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Golden Knights, Coyotes, 10 o'clock, Arizona. The Golden Knights are minus 140, total 5.5. We actually saw a nickel fade of Vegas in the early wagering. No movement on the total as of yet. Be on the lookout, though. That total could move anywhere. It could move upward, downward. Keep an eye on it, as a lot of unders for this Arizona team in the past couple of seasons. But anyway, Vegas opened $1.45 down to 140. Totals 5.5. 92% of the consensus is leaning toward Vegas. 86% shaded toward the over. Like I said, be on the lookout for that total, because if that goes up and you're an under better, you'll want to pound that real quick. Right now, Arizona plus $1.20 on the money line. Vegas Golden Knights plus 190, laying the goal and a half. Arizona 0-2 straight up on the year, scored just 1 goal in 2 games. Meanwhile, Vegas on the other side 2-1 to the under. I'm going to lean Golden Knights minus $1.40 and the under 5.5 in that game. We're going to slide into our quick pick recap brought to you by patreon.com/Brock Page. We got Golden Knights minus 140, under 5.5. Boston, even money, under 5.5. Chicago minus 110, under 6.5. Calgary minus 105, under 5.5. Nashville minus 135, over 5.5. Winnipeg minus 125, under 6 goals. St. Louis minus 1.5, under 6 goals. Tampa Bay minus 105, over 6.5. Edmonton plus $1.10, over 6.5. Detroit plus 1.5, over 6 goals. And last but certainly not least, we have the Anaheim Ducks plus $1.20 and the under 6 goals in that game. All right, guys, let's go ahead and slide into our shout-outs. Brought to you by patreon.com/Brock Page. Shout out to Vinny Smooth, Nathan Woosley, DS19, Jonathan Gonzalez, who said, I hope you changed your mind on Atlanta, referring to the baseball game yesterday. And no, I didn't. I got pounded right out the gate, 10-0 after just a half an inning. And I was in the hole. Anyway, I did not change my mind. Jonathan, I took that L like a man. Shout out to Jerry We The Best, Elliot V, Tiernan Stevens, Jake Bobby 305, Eric Card, Ray Perez, who has a Patreon for sports picks. And he put the link for that in one of our video comment sections. So make sure you check out Ray Perez and his Patreon sports picks channel. Shout out to C. Dinger, Stephen Mraz, Lil Taco, 22=4, Gio Lopez, who, Gio Lopez, sometimes, I love you, Gio. You're the best. And I know you've been with me a long time, but Gio Lopez called Lil Taco a dumb butt. Can't believe he said that. Anyway, shout out to Ronnie Christie, Mike Wilkerson, Proline Master, who has an excellent YouTube channel of his own. Check him out, the Proline Master. Got to give a shout out to my man Andrew Stirrup, representing the Bahamas, my Bahamian brother. Gotta love when Andrew Stirrup drops me a line in the comments section below. Great to see you, Andrew. Shout out to Will Surf, who I got to hire this guy because if I put up a typo or something like that, he's on it. And yesterday I made a critical mistake in my NHL video. I put the wrong date in there. I put October 6th when the picks were for October 9th. Will Surf, much love, dude. Thanks for catching that. And I was on top of it quick. As soon as he posted that title got changed. So Will Surf, good looking out, buddy. We really appreciate it. And like I said, you'll be one of my first employees when this thing blows up. Anyway, next and final shout out for the show. I got to show some love to the Getta King, who says, get that money. Of course, that's what it's all about, getting that money. Securing the bag. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on my website. It's patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are 21-5-1 in our I'm so excited, can't even talk, because we are 21-5-1 in our last 27 daily double picks on that site. And we are hitting nearly 80% in our college football tier. All right? You can find that information on patreon.com/BrockPage. We have different daily plays and memberships and packages for bettors of all experience levels. And our packages begin at just $1.99 per month, which is absolutely absurd. You can get one pick a day, the daily best play, for $1.99 per month. That's exceptional value, and I really don't know why I offer a membership that cheap, but I do. And the daily best play for $1.99 is here to stay. That ain't going anywhere. Anyway, guys, there's plenty of free content there as well, including my current record amongst all the different tiers, memberships, and packages. So that's patreon.com/BrockPage. Link for that site is in the description section below. But most importantly, guys, I got to thank you for watching me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Hey, happy Thursday to you. The weekend's almost here. Happy Thursday to you. Best of luck to you. And don't forget to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.